We are going to talk about search engine optimization, SEO, and then we're also just going to do a rundown of the key points of the stuff we covered so far in this workshop, showing you real world examples of them. And so to start off with SEO, as I mentioned, it stands for search engine optimization. It's a way of getting your website into the search results you want. Like, you don't really care most likely if your website comes up if someone searches for tires or something like that, unless you're a tire company. But you do want them to come up when they're searching for your name most likely and things like that. So you have to make it so Google and Bing and Yahoo and all the other search engines, they can know that what your website is about and how it's important, and so they know to put it in those search results. So just to start off, let's see. Good. So let's just do a quick Google search for something. So CSULB ISSA. So as you see, the first result is the ISSA on the CSULB domain, and then another one on the CSULB domain. Then this is the other org at CSULB that also is ISSA. They're the International Studies Student Association. So they're right there. Then that's their blog right here. I think this is ours. Yeah, this is ours. Here's our forums, our calendar, ours. So as you can see, it's a pretty well organized. We have a lot of the results. There's 2 results that aren't for us, but I mean, they're still ISSA results. They're just that because we share ISSA with them, that they get in here as well. So it's a pretty nice and organized search engine optimized search for CSULB ISSA if you're looking for us. But I mean, if I search CSULB just in general, most likely we're not going to come anywhere near there. Yeah, we're not going to be anywhere around here. So instead, you got all these other things related to CSULB because that stuff is more important for that search result, basically. So we didn't really try to get on the CSULB website, and even if we did try, most likely we couldn't do anything about it because it's just so well ingrained that CSULB, they most likely want to go to the CSULB website where they want some information about some events happening with CSULB. They're not going to care about some random organization inside CSULB. So Google doesn't bother putting any of those in there. There might be like something on a few pages back. Let me try on like page 5 or something. Yeah, there's some information on a couple of orgs here. Not much. Okay. Yeah, so that's what you basically want to do is you want to make it so you get in those search results, but you have to target them. You have to know what search results you want to be in, and it has to be a reasonable search result. Like, let's say, so I work for an optometry. It would be pretty unreasonable for just the word optometry to pull us up because we're a small optometry, not a huge optometry. Maybe it's not so unreasonable if it maybe someone is searching in the Costa Mesa area and they're trying to do it, because Google will also use your geographic location if they can access it to try to figure out what you're looking for. But someone in Nebraska is never going to find our website by typing in optometry. So instead, we focused on Costa Mesa optometry because we're located in Costa Mesa. So just adds those extra little bit of keywords and you'll see that it would bring up our website. So should be somewhere on here. Yeah. Here's our website right here. It's not at the top because there's, as you can see, they have a very nice domain that relates directly to the search results, so they get some nice bonus points there, which I'm going to talk about next. But as you can see, these are all optometries in Orange County in the Costa Mesa area that have to do with what you're looking for. So that's what Google wants, is to make sure that it stays relevant to what you want, so that way you keep coming back to use Google and that you see Google ads, and that's how Google makes their money. So now, as to far as how to make sure your website gets in the search results. Number one thing is just content. Content is king for Google now. There used to be all these things. You have to be a little bit careful when reading up about SEO, because there's a lot of old information that's no longer accurate. There were times where there were certain tricks you could do for SEO to help boost your score, but you have to be really careful now. So content is king, because when Google's going to a website, they want to see that the website's being updated frequently, so they know that the information's accurate and new and interesting. So someone who's looking for something, this is going to be the newest information for them. The Google bot will also try to figure out what the content's about as well. So there's some things called meta tags. They're not really used too much anymore. They're still kind of important. You don't want bad meta tags, at least, and those go inside the header, and they just describe your website a little bit more. And things like they'll check to make sure you're not trying to fool them, so they'll make sure that the content relates, and if it doesn't relate, then you're going to be penalized for that, so you have to be careful. Same thing with titles and URLs. As you saw, that one place, CostaMesaOptometry.com, they were the first result because their URL matched the search result. So Google, after checking the content to make sure the content also has to do with the search, they will then show that as one of the #1 results because it's so relevant. It's like if you were to type it in the URL bar instead, this is what you would have gotten instead anyway. So they show that high so that you get some bonus points for that. So now I'm just going to show you a great article called SEO for not dicks. Yeah. So this was an article written by a person, what's his name? Matt Gemmell. He, like me, he's a blogger and stuff, and so he just wanted to write up some remarks because he read this other article by this guy that advocated using some really bad tactics, basically creating fake websites and making it linking back to your own website through fake websites and stuff like that. And that's, as he describes it, as search engine optimization or abuse, and you can get penalized for that by Google. And he talks here about people that post referrers to websites and stuff, and if you do start up a blog, you will notice this. A lot of people try to make it so when you open up the comments for your blog, they'll try to get their own website into those comments by saying, "Oh, that your article was so great, blah blah blah. I think you should check out my website because it's also great." So, and then they post the link. What I do is I always mark those as spam, and I never post them. And so those comments just always get instantly deleted. And you need to make sure that happens if you start up a blog, because otherwise you might get penalized a little bit yourself for that, because you're basically facilitating spam in Google's eyes if you allow that. So here it talks about descriptive URLs, which I mentioned, containing the title. So as you can see, the title for this article is SEO for non-dicks, and here it says SEO for non-dicks right in the URL. So it's just all about making sure your content is good. And then make sure the title page matches the first heading. So once again, SEO for non-dicks in the title, and right there again. Incoming links are good, so you don't have any broken links, basically. And the titles are relevant to the content. Descriptive anchor tags. So as you can see, all this was the text for this anchor tag. So instead of saying, "Recently I read this article," he went and said what the article basically was right there instead. So that's using descriptive anchor tags. And once again, content is king, so keep writing. This is the most important one in my opinion. And he talks just a little bit more. It says anything else is trickery, and I do agree with him. You have to be really careful because you can get penalized for trickery. You just make your website attractive, and Google will find it attractive, basically. And then I'm going to show this in a minute, but I like this part right here. And to prove I know what I'm talking about, this post was the #1 on Google for SEO dicks within 5 hours of publication. So it's all about knowing what you can possibly achieve versus what you can't. And so it'd be completely unreasonable for Matt Gemmell to try to get his articles published for some other name like Bruce Springsteen. He's not going to get anything underneath a Bruce Springsteen result. So now let's check out the search engine optimization guide by Google. Let's see. It's really long. I'm just going to do a couple of highlights of it is all. So just basically go over the table of contents, so basics, create unique accurate page titles, which we talked about in that other article, descriptive meta tags, which I'll go in a little bit more in, structure of the URLs, easy to navigate. That's a pretty big one actually. The Googlebot will try to treat your website like a standard website, and if you have nice organized links, it's going to be happy, and it will know that other people will be happy when they visit your website, so it'll boost your score a little bit there. Likewise, if you have hidden links, which is links that your average user can't see, but someone that's scraping the website can see, like a bot, Google's going to penalize you for that because that's cheating, and they don't like that. Just optimizing content, which I'll talk about in a little bit. All that good stuff. And then so here's the search, the ad results. You don't see them in mine because I'm using AdBlock Plus, so I don't get them. I know I'm bad for that. And then here's the organic results that you really care about. You want to be in here somewhere, preferably near the top, but whatever you can get, you can get. So here's an example of some meta tags right here. So Brandon's baseball cards is just a description of it. And so it just describes a little bit of information about it. So then it's going to show up here. That's something Google still does sometimes use. It depends on the result though. Sometimes they'll use the meta tags, other times they'll just use some of the content. I think there's so he's talking about how crappy this is, doesn't look good, instead making it nice and simple, which is that URL optimization that we were talking about earlier. Nice, easy to navigate. That one's actually kind of interesting. So let's go back to that one. Here it is. Have a useful 404 page. This is and XML sitemap, which I'll talk about in a little bit too. So custom 404 pages. Let me actually just show that off. I think that would be the best way. So that way, instead of just a generic 404 page, let's see if I can think of anywhere that has a generic 404 page that you can act. Oh, I do actually. Oh no. Maybe it was beta. Or somewhere I'm not allowed to access, which I can't find right now. Oh well. I guess they changed their website to actually not have 404 generic 404 pages, but to show a nice 404 page does not exist. So just tells you to go back to the home page, has a picture of us, tells you the page couldn't be found, but all the links and stuff are all still here. Everything's still relevant, all the relevant content, and that tells you just to go back to the home page. And I just kind of took this part right here and put it over there. Let's see if there's anything else really. I don't think there was anything else I really wanted to talk about in here, but let me just check. Oh yes, sitemaps. I'm going to talk about sitemaps in a minute anyway. No follow, that's something you can add to your URL if you don't want it to do it. Like they're telling you to add it to comments exactly for that reason of avoiding comment spam. Yeah, I think that's it. It's definitely a good read. It's a long read though, so if you want to read it, you'd have to read it on your own. Okay, so that was that. So I mentioned sitemap a couple times. Let me pull up a sitemap just for you to see one. Okay, here's my company's sitemap. It's just an XML file, and it just lists the location, when it was last modified, and information like that, and it lists every single URL on your website. Google likes this because it helps the Google bot find the content on your website faster. So it's really useful. And also, Webmaster Tools uses it. So here's some sites I manage. That one shouldn't exist. So my blog, another company's website. I manage my company's website on my company email address, so it's not listed here. So it'll tell you things like errors, how good everything's going, all that good stuff. It tells you all the information you want. And so this is really useful. So there should be sitemaps. Here it is. So you can submit your sitemap right here by adding a sitemap, clicking this button, putting the URL. So as you can see for drgrant.net, it's just sitemap.xml. So I would, if this was drgrant.net that I was doing it on, I'd just put sitemap.xml here. And as you can see, I have one page that's not indexed for some reason. I'm not sure what it is. Might be the sitemap itself. And so this is called Webmaster Tools. It's a great place to see just some statistics on your website. In case your website itself doesn't have any statistics, you can actually pull pages as Google and stuff like that too. You can remove URLs that you don't want anymore for some reason. Like if you, like for my company website, I had a URL that I didn't want anymore, so I removed it because it wasn't accurate anymore. Notice it was listed in the main block. See these, it was one of these, and I just wanted it removed because it wasn't needed to be there anymore. So I used that to remove it. And here you can fetch a website as Google to see how Google sees it, which is sometimes useful to make sure everything's loading fine. Security issues, all that good stuff. And Bing also has their own Webmaster Tools. I've never used it because I don't really care about Bing. You can sign up for it. I mean, it's not going to cost you anything to sign up for it or anything, just like with Google's Webmaster Tools, it's free. I just never have bothered with it because I really don't know anyone that uses Bing too much, and I don't use Bing, so I don't really care. So another thing that relates to your search engine optimization is your website speed. We've talked about speed once before, and it's important once again. So I like Google's page speed tool to figure out how fast your website is. And it will analyze your website, and it will give you a score. So this is for my mobile. I'm at 78 out of 100. It's basically impossible to get 100. Okay. I think I can get this to 80. I think I had it at 80 once before. I think I should minify the CSS again because I made some changes, and it'll be back at 80. It's very hard to get a perfect score, and it's not really that important. the important thing is that it's pretty fast, and as you can see for the desktop, I'm at 90, which is nice. Really need to minify the CSS again, though, apparently. And so Google will use this because they know that nobody wants to visit a slow website. I don't want to visit a slow website. I'm sure you guys don't want to visit a slow website. And so they penalize slow websites from the Google results. So if your website's slow, you're not going to get those top places. So that, and that. So just to show off a little bit more SEO. SEO is always a work in progress. It's never complete. If you don't stay on top of it, you'll get penalized a little bit. So let's see what my results are. This isn't me. Oh, yay, cool. My GitHub went up a little bit, it looks like. So it's my blog, now my LinkedIn. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, it's just, so I own most of the top of my website. And as you can see, this is me, that's technically me, that's a coworker, and that's a picture from my blog. I have no idea what that is. It's from MySpace, and I don't use MySpace, so it must be some other Kevin Tomer. But it's mostly me. A single result at the top isn't me, which is nice. I can live with that. Most of these results are me. And then some results at the bottom are just generic results for finding people. And I think I might have one more result on a different page. But I'm pretty happy with that kind of result. And to me, this is the most important thing, is search engine optimization for your name. Because we're all in school right now, but we all want a job. And you can bet that your potential employers are going to Google search your name. And you want to leave a good impression when they search your name. So having an optimized search for your name so that your records will show up is definitely an advantage. It's a lot harder when you don't have an uncommon name. If you have an uncommon name, it's a lot easier to do. But also, when you have an uncommon name, it's also a lot easier for your potential employer to find something bad about you too that you might not want. Like maybe you posted some stuff on Facebook that is public and you really shouldn't have it there. So it's important to search your name basically to make sure that it's clean and that it's optimized for what you want your potential employers to see. So even if you can't get your own content there, just so you're aware of what's there so you can explain it to a potential employer. And that's it on search engine optimization. So now I'm going to start a quick run through of pretty much everything that we covered so far. And by everything, I just mean actual real world implementation. I'm not going to go crazy on stuff like DNS and registrations and all that other good stuff that we talked about, but just the real world implementations. So we will start by registering a domain. Register domain names. I'm gonna make up a domain name and register it. I'm not actually going to register it because I don't want to pay the money, but just to show off how easy it is. So I wanted to add who is privacy to this domain name because we talked about that a little bit. And I'm going to use this privacy please coupon I had entered in before. And now the privacy, who is privacy is free. So then I would just click next step and I would pay for it, but I'm not going to actually do that. But it's really simple. As you can see, you just have to create an account, find a domain by searching for it, choose it, click on it, add who is privacy, coupon code for free who is privacy on name.com, and then pay for it basically. But I'm not going to actually do it. So let me go devrun.info because that's what I'm going to be working on. And so the next thing after that was email. Unfortunately, Microsoft decided to end Windows Live for domains, domains for Windows Live. This happened 23 days ago, I guess. And so you can no longer use, if you didn't already set up domains for Windows Live, you can no longer use it. If you did, though, they're not gonna do anything. It's gonna remain indefinitely, basically. So nothing to worry about if you already did it. If you didn't do it, you're just gonna have to use something else. So I'm gonna show off Zoho email, which I've never done before. So this should be interesting, because that's the only other free one I'm aware of. So we'll see how this goes. So here's Zoho Mail's website. They still have a free option, so free for 5 users. I'm going to set it up for devrun.info. Admin. I have no idea. Yeah. All right, that works, I guess. Because I don't want to be bothered with this. Use all my spam email addresses. Click sign up. Proceed to verify domain ownership. So it wants me to create a CNAME. That's easy enough. DNS records. Select CNAME. Put that there. And add record. Well, they even give you instructions. Cool, they give you instructions for name.com. Okay, just give it a second now, because you have to wait for domains to update. Maybe it might be done now. It got verified, awesome. Create an account. And next, I don't want to add users. I don't want to create groups. Yes, I do need to do this. So cool, they give you two MX records. I like that. I'll make it 3600 and a priority of 10, yes. MX 600 and a priority of 20. It's nice that they give you instructions. It tells you to leave it blank. I thought so. Nope, I don't have any email to migrate. I don't really care about mobile access right now. Whoops. And proceed to Zoho Mail. Cool. Let's see if I can send anything. which will be the real test. So and I got it, it looks like. So let's see, I'm too lazy to pull up my email on my computer. As you can see, that barely doesn't want to focus. But yeah, there's the mail. That works for me. Now let's see if I can reply and get it back. And send. Don't bounce, please don't bounce. I really don't want it to bounce. Sent mail. Very simple so far. And cool. So I was a little bit afraid that it was going to bounce because I just barely set it up, and sometimes it takes a while for the domain records to finish. But as you can see, hey, that's why I responded back to. Worked out perfectly fine. So I'm happy with that. There, I set up email using Zoho Mail, which I've never done before, in all of 10 minutes, I think. So very simple to do. Their interface, I think, would take a little bit of time to get used to, but it's all there. It's kind of, it's just different from Gmail, and I'm so used to Gmail, I think, that anything else is just kind of weird. So that's the email part. So I showed you how to register a domain real fast, showed you how to set up email really, really fast, and it went off without a hitch, which I'm really happy about. Since I've never done that before with them. That means next would be setting up a blog. So I'm going to use, I really want this one. Thank you. So here is Blogger. I logged into it. So now let's create a limited continue to Blogger. Create a new blog. Nagy's blog. Nagy blog. Gorama. Create it. Let's create a post. Standard first post. And now let's go to, let me make sure this is all showing up. What did I call it again? Nagy Blogorama. So there I have a blog set up. I really don't like that template though. Let's put a different one on. Do any of these look good? That one doesn't look bad. Ooh, I kind of like this one. That one's kind of nice too. I like this one better. But it's not using my custom domain yet, so let's do that next. I want to make it use settings. I think it's under settings. No. Ah, here it is. www.defron.org. No, that's the, I already did that. Defron.info. Habits die hard. Okay, now it wants me to verify. So switch back to other window. Sorry. So what did it want it to be again? So for www, it's supposed to put that. And it wants, it doesn't specify. And then a CNAME, well, that's supposed to be a CNAME. And another CNAME. Add record. Give it a couple of seconds. So no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Maybe good now. Let's see. Change to the other window again. And save. And it's happy. Yay. So edit, redirect defron.info. That's an important thing right there because, so let me go to www.defron.info. Takes me there. But if I go defron.info just plain, oh, no, I think it's because I already checked it off. Whatever. You need to make sure that checkbox gets checked because if you don't check that checkbox, you run the risk of just the plain URL not being forwarded. Certain browsers will forward it, other browsers won't. Just depends on how lucky you are. And I think if I add HTTP, it wouldn't have, but oh, it still might not because it just barely changed. See, now it did. I don't think if I had, let me see if I can edit it out to not do it. So HTTP defron.info. Really want it to fail just to show it off. It, of course, does not want to fail right now. So yeah, there's setting up a blog and another, that was like less than 10 minutes that time. Very fast to do, not hard at all, just takes a couple minutes. And now I have a fully functioning blog that I can add posts to. Number 2, because post 2. And see now my posts, and as you can see, it tells you when it was posted, and also it uses the title, so you get all that SEO that the other guy was talking about for free in this case. And you can add stuff here, you can change everything. Lots of customization, mess around with it to your heart's content. And there's also, of course, a million themes for this. Like, I don't bother with the default themes on my personal one because I didn't really like them. It's your own personal preference, though. Lots of free ones. You just Google search Blogger themes. So just find one you like. This one's kind of nice. You will download an XML file. You will go to templates and you will edit it and you will paste it here. But I'm not going to do that because that's a lot of work. Not really a lot of work, I'm just too lazy. Tried to trick me. Here's the XML file that I mentioned. Oh, I don't like you at all. That's not very nice. I'm too lazy. I don't want to have to actually unzip it. But basically, you take that XML file and you customize this and you put it in here. It's really easy. Okay, and you can also add pages, which is something I've never personally done, but let's just do it. A page about me. So pages are useful for static content, whereas posts are more useful for dynamic content, which I think I've already told you last time. So if I go to the home page, there usually is an option. So when you can edit the template, you can add it to the top and stuff. I can put a link somewhere in here to include the pages, like if you go to my blog. See, I have these. I can add more, so I could add more for each page if I wanted to. I haven't done any pages though, so I'm not going to bother right now. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything. I showed you, talked about SEO. We talked about talked about SEO, showed off registering a domain, showed off setting up email, and showed off setting up Google Blogger for a quick blog, including forwarding your URL to it. And that is pretty much everything we covered. I mean, without all the technical details that we've gotten into, that's just covering the actual implementation. So now you've seen the implementation, so hopefully if you haven't done it yet, you'll be able to do it. Any questions? Okay, well that's it then. Thank you for watching this and have a good rest of the day and good luck on your finals.